Southwest Airlines, you are now free to move about the country. And Mike Fox is hungry again, our director tonight. We showed the tornado the other day, and they're selling like tornadoes tonight. I was going to say like hotcakes, but they're selling like tornadoes.
Those are pretty good. The other day after the pregame show, sitting watching the ball game with my son for a couple innings.
You had 6 of them, didn't you?
3.
3.
Yeah.
Nice dinner.
Dessert before the main course, always the best way to go.
That's right. Brad Ausmus, Wandy Rodriguez, Craig Biggio to face Jason Hirsch, who has bounced back nicely after several subpar outings. He has allowed 1 hit in 5 innings. That's it, a 2-out double by Luke Scott.
With this pitcher spot on deck, Orlando Palmeiro's already grabbed a bat, and we talked about Wandy Rodriguez's high pitch count. Chad Qualls is now up and tossing in the Astros bullpen.
Curveball, did he go? No swing. C.B. Buckner down at first.
Certainly looked like he went around. He held his hands and kept them stiff. Still, the bat didn't cross the plate. Nice call from CB.
Down low. You know, Brad Ausmus, as many of you who followed baseball know, went to Dartmouth, originally drafted by the Yankees. He has a degree in government from Dartmouth. His dad was a professor at Southern Connecticut State in European history. Brad Ausmus goes to first base, and we go to the studio. Tim Ring with a baseball update at the Chevy Sports Desk.
Hey, Drew, is downright kooky in Canada tonight. Tampa, Toronto tied at 11 in the 9th. Bases loaded. Tim Corcoran walks in the winning run. Blue Jays, who trailed at one point 11-6, come back to win at 12-11. How about that?
Sounds a little bit like the ball game we saw here Sunday when the Rockies trailed the Cincinnati Reds 8-2 in the 6th inning. It came back and won in extra innings. Well, Hirsch has walked his first batter of the game. Orlando Palmeiro, another one of those former teammates of yours, up there to pinch hit. Where'd you play with him? With the Angels?
Angels in '99. Orlando's another valuable guy to have on your bench. He can come up, pinch hit.
You know, Orlando today, when you visited with him, a little different than some of your ex-teammates that we've run into throughout the last couple of years. He didn't duck you.
I was wondering where you're going with this.
Well, I just report the facts. That is my job.
Right. We actually sat down and had a very nice conversation, mainly about families and how everything was going in that regard.
Runner going. It's a hit and run, and it's going to go past Tulowitzki. And first and third for Houston with nobody out. Well, your old teammate, that was one heck of a play.
Well, and the thing about it, it was a fastball away, a pretty good pitch to try to hit the other way. It was off the plate about 6 inches. He just reaches his bat out. He was able to hit it past the diving Tulowitzki at shortstop. And that's what you can do with an Orlando Palmeiro, because that guy just does not swing and miss very often. It's a 6 pinch hit on the year.
That's going to keep him in the game even longer. 1-0 Colorado. This is the first problem for Jason Hirsch in the ballgame. Biggio ground out and a strikeout. And his knees buckled on that breaking pitch. 0-1. Let's take a look at our Esurance Inside information. Of the 26 players to reach 3,000 hits, 8 have done it with one team. Stan the Man, Al Kaline, Roberto Clemente, who finished right at 3,000 hits. Carl Yastrzemski, George Brett, Robin Yount, Cal Ripken Jr., and Tony Gwynn. What a class to be in, huh? And Biggio out front again a little bit.
We see some big names with that. I mean, how about Stan the Man, George Brett, Yaz,
Harder
that's
for it
why,
to happen
you know
in this
what?
day and age, and that's why
That's why
this
he's going to
guy's
the Hall of Fame.
right, and that's why Biggio's so revered in Houston. He's hit more than 20 home runs in a season 8 times. He's had 50 or more doubles twice. You know, he's 7th on the all-time doubles list. People don't know some of the marks, some of the lists where Craig Biggio is really, really high. He's the all-time leader in number of times plunked, 283. That's down low. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, we mentioned that he's second in games, third in runs scored, third in home runs. I mean, these are for second basemen, of course, but I mean, these are just impressive numbers.
Stole 30 bases or more 5 times, twice topped 40. He had an on-base percentage of better than 380 on 8 occasions, 4 seasons above 400. And, you know, for a long period of time, he was the premier leadoff man in baseball.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, though, that the guy came up as a catcher.
Yeah.
And he also went and played the outfield, played center field, played left field when they went out and got Carlos Beltran.
2-2, and Biggio got Hirsch with a huge strikeout on a curveball away.
The second time tonight he's gotten Biggio on the break-in pitch back in the 4th inning. Same pitch, same location, same result. Take a look at the XMO, and when you see a hitter that far out in front and so much where his front foot is not even in the ground yet as he goes to swing, it just shows you how off balance he is.
Now Hunter Pence is 0 for 2, though his last time up he ripped the ball right at Garrett Atkins. And he has been, along with Carlos Lee, the most productive offensive players in the Houston Astros lineup in a year where they have really struggled to score. And Pence lines it again at Atkins. Again he makes the catch. Everybody scrambles back to their respective bags. And there are 2 outs. And now Hirsch has a great chance to get out of this thing.
Well, first of all, you get the strikeout from Biggio, but then Garrett's able to move back a couple steps, give himself a little bit more range. Luckily, that ball was just about a foot to his left. First place you look, too, is at third base. He had an opportunity to possibly throw across the diamond to get Orlando Palmeiro at first. But your natural reaction is to make sure that that guy from third base doesn't score. By the time he realized that he had an opportunity, Orlando had scampered back to the bag.
And now the struggling Lance Berkman, 0 for 2. Good block by Torrealba. Check an email presented by OfficeLiquidators.com. Ron in Peoria, Arizona. Do you think the Rockies pitchers look more relaxed and confident on the mound with the defense they have behind them? The top defense statistically in the National League. They have to be, don't they, Hugh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, anytime you go out there and you know you have guys behind you and that they can hit the ball, that they're going to be out, it makes everybody relax. And certainly for a pitcher, that's one of your #1 things.
Boy, Berkman, that's just not a Berkman like. It wasn't a swing, it was a check swing, but you know, 1-0.
That just goes to show you how bad things are for Lance Berkman right now. Ahead in the count, 1-0. You're looking for a fastball. Even a good hitter like that is able to lay off the changeup that's going down and away, but he's just caught in between mechanically.
Ooh, where's that?
Wow.
I'll tell you what, you know it's close when the umpire, the home plate umpire, Ed Hickox, kind of made a nod to his left as if he was questioning himself.
Well, a lot of times they'll also do that to say, no, the pitch was outside. The orbit set up just on the outside part of the plate. And that was a good call from Ed Hickox. From the naked eye, it certainly looked like it was on the black.
3-1 on Berkman with Carlos Lee on deck.
Yeah, and this is the guy you want. And we talked about Carlos Lee and his ability to drive in runs. And Berkman, for all of his accolades prior to this year, You want to make sure that you get this guy who is struggling at the plate.
Line drive left center field, and this is going to tie up the ball game. Around third, Palmeiro gets a green light, and it's going to give Houston a lead. In fact, just the second double of the year for Lance Berkman. A 2-run double with 2 outs in the 6th inning, and the Astros lead it 2-1.
Lance drives in his 32nd run of the year. Well, a changeup that was away from him, much like the fastball. Yorvit wanted it away from him. Only problem, this one was left up. And that's the classic Lance Berkman swing that we've been accustomed to seeing. The ball was hit in the gap. Orlando Palmeiro can still run. Easily scores for the Astros' 2nd run of the ball game. If Jason would have hit his location with that pitch down and away, he would have got Lance to roll over. Ground ball, but that pitch was up.
You go back to that 1-1 pitch. It's always a swing pitch and an at-bat right on the border of being a strike. Called the ball, and the next pitch misses, and you get yourself into a real hitter's count.
Yeah,
they're going to pass on Carlos Lee and go to Mark Loretta.
It's a wise decision, and it's an easy decision to make. I mean, the guy's doing all he does at the plate with the RBIs. You put him on first base, set up the force play. Now you have 2 outs. You go to any base.
If you have a break in your windshield, take it to Elite Auto Glass #1 for more than one reason. Bob Apodaco, go to the mound. We'll check another email. Lauren in Golden wants to know, who do you think deserves the last spots in the pitching rotation, Hirschfog or Buchholz? Well, it's already been decided, Jeff. We learned that before the ball game. Buchholz has been removed from the rotation in favor of Josh Fogg. He'll start Thursday against Houston, and Buchholz will go back to the pen.
Well, I think it's just a natural fit. You know, Taylor's had some experience there. That's where he's pitched out of earlier this year. Yeah, he's pitched well the last few outings, but Josh goes back into that rotation. And then, of course, Jason Hirsch tonight's pitching very well. He's a guy that is more suited to start than he is to go to the bullpen. So now you got the Fogg coming in on Thursday. And we see Jorge Julio warming up. And Buchholz back to the pen.
Hirsch got the fastball past Mark Loretta. It's 0-1.
Of course, on Thursday, when Fogg is activated off the DL, the Rockies will have to make a roster move at that point. Part of the reason why Mark Loretta is hitting behind Carlos Lee earlier in the year, at certain points it's been Morgan Insberg. Mark Loretta's 12 for 23 with runners in scoring position. A .520.
Curveball on the outside corner. It's 1-2. Berkman at second, Lee at first. Neither one of those guys have ever been accused of speeding.
Especially the man at first base, Carlos Lee.
And the fastball hit out in front of the plate. Hirsch will throw out Loretta at first base. In the inning, Lance Berkman, a 2-run, 2-out double, and the Astros lead it 2-1, middle of 6. Welcome back to the Coors Light 6th inning. Now it's time for the Coors Light Cold Blast. Well, Sunday, Garrett Atkins First time up after sitting down for a couple of days, went deep. And of course, about 3.5 hours later, he would hit a line drive to left that would drive in Kaz Matsui with the game winner. Rockies over the Reds 10-9 on Coors Light cold blast from Sunday. And Garrett Atkins will bat second this inning. Todd Helton will be up first. Dave Borkowski takes over for the 19th time this year.
Well, originally, Chad Qualls was up when the Astros were trailing. Now, Phil Garner decides to bring in Dave Borkowski.
What do you got on Borkowski?
Oh, he's one of those guys that's going to sink it, slide it just a little bit, not real overpowering.
And this ball pulled foul.
Really just a two-pitch pitcher, a sinker and a slider. There's pretty good command of that fastball. Use it to both sides of the plate. Slider's his second best pitch, 83 to 86 miles an hour.
Inside on Todd. Todd is 0 for 2 strikeouts in the ball game. A little tardy with that swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
More times tonight than I've probably seen him all year.
Ooh, that was close. 3-2.
How about this? Wandy Rodriguez went 5 innings tonight. 6 out of his last 7 games. Guess how many innings he's gone?
5 innings.
5 innings. Pretty much know what you're going to get from him.
He struck out 7, walked 1.
He gave up 1 earned run, 5 hits.
Yeah, I mean, pretty good numbers. Just took him a lot of pitches to get through 5 innings.
The Astros, much like the Rockies, had yesterday off. Didn't fly in, got into Denver about 8 o'clock last night.
Houston's 10 games under 500. The Rockies just 3 under 500. There are some similarities in that offense has been a problem. Helton drives his deep center field over the head of Pence, and it short hops the wall and kicks around. Todd is going to try for 3. Here's to throw to third, not in time. Second triple of the game for the Rockies, and for Todd Helton, it is number 1 this year.
Boy, you knew eventually that Todd was going to be able to get a baseball that he could handle. That's exactly what happened. Fastball that worked back over the middle part of the plate. With a guy like Todd with the head extension, the one hand up, the other hand down, the follow through, driving it in into the right center field gap. You know, what allowed him to get to third base though was the high kick off the wall. Hunter Pence had a difficult time picking it up. When Todd's coming around second base, he doesn't even need to look at Mike Gallego at third base. He has made the decision that he's going, that he can make it. He made it easily.
Atkins popped it up, and Biggio goes out. So Garrett 2 doubles, and the Rockies have not done real well in situational at bats tonight. They had an opportunity in the first inning and the second inning with leadoff doubles to move the runner along, could not. That was a situation right there with the infield back and the outfield fairly deep where the Rockies didn't come through, and they had another one of those situations with Helton in the 4th after a leadoff triple by Matt Holliday. Fortunately, Atkins picked up Helton in that situation. So now the infield comes in with Hop at the plate.
Well, they're going to play it the same exact way as they did earlier in the ball game. Nobody out, they play back. 1 out, they play in.
Hop had a good swing there, 0-1.
I mentioned it tonight so far. The Rockies are 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position.
That affected them greatly last year, and it's affected them quite a bit this year.
Well, and especially, too, where you have the opportunity with the infield back. All you need is a ground ball to drive that run in.
That's a strike. Ed Rapuano at third. That's pretty easy for him to call. There's no question Brad went around. Pulled hard, but right at Berkman. Now it's going to take a 2-out hit. And it'll be up to Troy Tulowitzki. And Troy and Hunter Pence, part of our high energy, Valero high energy play of the day. Tulowitzki having a terrific first season. And Hunter Pence, who came up about 3.5 weeks after the season began, has just torn it up. You can see, even though he wasn't called up till April 28th, he's within 5 hits of Tulowitzki's 53.
There's some good young players in the National League. And Josh Hamilton, Cincinnati, Chris Young, Mark Reynolds from Arizona.
Yeah, Mark Reynolds just came up, and they can't get him out of the lineup.
Yep.
Well, Hamilton returned to the Reds lineup tonight. Inside on Tulowitzki. Well, Rockies had the right guys up too. Atkins, Hop. Atkins is swinging the bat well now over the last couple. And this is in the air to center field. The Rockies are going to have a leadoff triple and not bring them around. Boy, that's been the story of the night. Missed opportunities, situational at bats. 2-1 Houston. Houston leads it 2-1 as we move to the latter third of this ball game, top of the 7th inning. Fans, Quest wants you to experience the ultimate in Rockies baseball. Enter the Quest Home Field Advantage contest, win infield box seats, go on field for batting practice, and much more. Quest brings more Rockies into your life in more ways than ever. Luke Scott will lead it off in the 7th. He broke up Jason Hirsch's perfect game with 2 outs in the 5th with a double to the wall in center field. But Hirsch would get Adam Everett. The 2 runs scored last inning. And they scored with 2 outs with Berkman. Came up with runners at first and third and on a 3-1 pitch. Hit just his 2nd double of the year. This one went to left center field. 2-1 Houston. But from a fundamental standpoint, Huey, the Rockies have really missed some chances tonight.
They've just been bad. They've been plain and simple. They haven't been able to drive the run in from third base with the infield back especially. When they're giving you that run, you just have to take the approach that I'm going to get up there, get on top of the plate just a little bit, try to stay on top of the baseball.
Center field, broken bat base hit for Luke Scott. Let's check an email. All right, you show a shot of the batter at Coors Field that seems to be taken in midair directly above the batter. How do you do that, Nancy, in Denver? It's very simple. We have a fellow by the name of Brian Peters, who's one of the top camera operators in the country. There's BP. Brian, wave for everybody. To see how big and strong Brian is, what he does for that particular shot is he runs out to center field and he picks up Donnie Mills. We have Donnie on camera. We're going to show Donnie here in a second. Slug bunt was on. 0-1. He runs out. There's Donnie, and Donnie's not quite as big, right? So he runs out, and Brian goes and picks up Donnie, and he hangs him by his ankles, and Donnie holds onto a camera. Not that one. It's a smaller one because that would be too heavy. And then they get that, you know, Donnie's got to hold it in a steady manner. There it is. And then looking straight down, you get that shot, Nancy. Had a perfectly good story going, and then they show the real camera. Brian may be strong enough to hold. I think he is to hold Donnie upside down. And Brian, you could do that. You'd like to do that and shake him around a little bit, wouldn't you, Brian?
See how much money falls out.
Absolutely. I don't know how much money would fall out, but maybe clear up some of the fogginess in Donnie's head. So he can't respond right now. Mills always gets me, so I'm getting him back right now. 0-1. And the breaking pitch, check swing by Adam Everett, didn't go around, 1-1. Let's check and see if Donnie's mad at us now, or mad at me. Give me a shot at Mills again. Mills, you upset with me? Nah, I'll get you back. Here's Travis. Travis is known as the EIC, the engineer in charge of our truck tonight. Now, obviously, things are going very well in the truck because Travis is out there sunning himself in center field.
Eating some peanuts, too.
Right. But if things start to break, you won't see Travis out there anymore. I don't know why Travis is hanging out with Donnie, of all the guys to hang out with on our crew. Ball and a strike on Everett with Brad Ausmus on deck. One and two. Another email. This from Diana in Falcon. With the Yankees coming up soon, what is your opinion on A-Rod yelling, "I got it"? I don't know if he said exactly that. It's debatable. As the opposing team was fielding. Huey?
I don't like it. I mean, I think A-Rod's too good of a player to do something like that. I just think it's one of those unwritten rules that you don't yell anything. At the same time, though, as a third baseman, go ahead and catch the baseball.
This curveball goes all the way to the screen, and now Luke Scott goes to second base. Now, you played for 10 years in the infield. Have you ever seen that happen?
No, you'll see it or you'll hear it when you go over towards the dugouts. And guys over there, especially the opposing team, when you go over there, they'll be yelling at you, but you have to expect it when you go there. And not when you're out on the field, camped underneath the fly ball.
Two and two. And this is popped up and maybe playable. Nope. Torrealba hoping to have an opportunity.
It's about 3 feet more room and he would have had that baseball. Jeremy Affeldt and Jorge Julio warming up in the bullpen. Pitcher spots coming up in a few spots.
3 and 2. Well, right now, we talked a lot about this on Sunday. George and I did about bullpen having to keep a ball game close and give your offense an opportunity. Hirsch is the starter. He needs to keep this thing right now at 2-1. You got a runner on second base, 3 and 2 count, nobody out. Bottom of the order.
That's the key to the bottom of the order. Guys that haven't been productive so far in the year for the Astros. This is Jason's 90th pitch coming up.
Talk about getting in his kitchen. He knocked everything off the counter with that pitch.
Somehow, some way, he was able to foul it off. And take a look at the pitch speeds. 90-mile-an-hour fastball dropped down to 76, 74 with a couple curveballs. Change up at 75 and then 91, 90 again. It's brought to you by Panasonic Plasma.
In the air down the right field line. If this is fair, it could be a big problem. It is a fair ball. Hop grabs it, and diving to second is Everett. Stopping at third base is Luke Scott. He had to wait to make sure that thing dropped. Second and third, nobody out. Brad Ausmus coming up.
Well, Jason did everything he could in that instance. I see Clint Hurdle coming out to make a pitching change, but he made a good pitch, good location. Adam Everett just dropped it about a foot in front of the line on right field.
Well, it'll be the right-hander Jorge Julio. Clint Hurdle needing strikeouts. Jason Hirsch will depart. Nobody out in the 7th inning. Jorge Julio, the new pitcher for the Rockies, and he inherits a pretty good jam. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. The Rockies trailing 2-1. Brad Ausmus at the plate, who's always handled the bat well. The Rockies have to pull the infield in here in the top of the 7th inning. Julio called upon for his ability to get strikeouts.
Well, that's what he needs in this instance with 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Done a pretty good job so far. He's retired 9 out of the last 10 batters he's faced. Only 1 hit during that span. Ausmus in his career off Julio is 1 for 1. And so far on the year is 3 for 33 with runners in scoring position.
1-1.
He was geared up for that fastball, and Jorge threw him the slider. Saw the head jerk out.
While we have a meeting at the mound, let's check another email. Do you think Brad Ausmus could have been the Rockies' catcher of the future if he had not been traded away in 1993? That's from Chris in Colorado Springs, who has a very good memory. Well, here's the thing with Ausmus. Back then, he was traded after he was picked up in the expansion draft from the Yankees. He was traded along with a couple other players for Greg Harris and Bruce Hurst. Rockies were in desperate need of pitching back then, and at the time he was traded, he was playing minor league baseball. He had never come to the big leagues, so you're trading a minor league catcher at the time who was a 48th round pick originally of the New York Yankees. So it's not like you were trading Pudge Rodriguez and you knew it. I'm not saying that Brad Ausmus wasn't fairly well thought of at the time, but I don't think anybody believed that Brad Ausmus would still be playing in 2007 and would have put together the career that he's put together, and to get 2 veteran starting pitchers. And now they have Scott hung up. That's just a blunder by Scott, and the first out is recorded on the base pass. Unless the squeeze was on, he missed it.
It was, and the Rockies caught a break because the slider
was on. Excuse me, it wasn't a blunder by Scott. Though I tell you what, he didn't break initially. It was a safety squeeze.
It was a safety squeeze, and what you do in that instance is make sure that the ball is down. But with a guy like Ausmus who can put the ball in play, you're thinking that the ball is going to be down. But as I mentioned, the Rockies caught a break with that high slider right at the head of Ausmus. I'm surprised that Phil would put that on with nobody out. Typically, you see the squeeze play put on with 1 out.
That's ball 4 to Ausmus. So now it's 1st and 2nd, 1 out.
Well, it also changes the thinking of Phil Garner. If they would have got that run in, good chance Borkowski would have stayed into the ball game. And now he's gone to his bench.
Now with Luke Scott, on a safety squeeze, on a suicide squeeze, he's coming, he's running.
Yeah,
he's got to see the ball down, so
right.
he's got to be able to get back if the ball's not bunted.
Right, and what happened is he got caught going too far and too much momentum on his front leg. Now Phil has to go to Mike Lamb. With a regular squeeze, what you're taught is you wait until that arm is up and that front foot is down in the ground. As soon as that the arm gets up into the throwing motion, the pitcher can't change where he's going to throw the baseball.
And now it's Lamb up there, Clint Hurdle.
He's going to go to the lefty, and Jeremy Affeldt play matchup lefty on lefty.
Two to 1 Houston, 1 out in the 7th. 2-1 Houston. Julio gone after walking the only man he faced, Brad Ausmus, and Jeremy Affeldt will take over. Let's go to Tim Ring at the Chevy Sports Desk for another game update. Tim?
Hey, Drew, this is the kind of game that would have made a young Drew Goodman in upstate New York cry. The Mets at home tonight in extra innings fall to the Phillies. Phils put up 2 in the 11th. Abraham Nunez, the RBI here. Phils knock off the Mets at Shea, 4-2 the final.
Well, you're probably right about that. Tim, thanks for the update. Mike Lamb will step in against Jeremy Affel.
Well, he's going to stay in there because he is 4 for 9 and off lefties 444. But Jeremy allowing left-handed hitters at 182 average against. It's a numbers game.
Affel was the only member of the Rockies pen not to work on Sunday.
He's still second on the ball club with 27 appearances. Go-to guy from the left side for Clint Hurdle.
Opposition just 5 for their last 32 against Affel. And look at Lamb. He wanted no part of that curveball.
Mike might be 4 for 9 off lefties, but he hasn't seen too many curveballs like that before.
And he gets another one. This is a double play ball. Nicely done by Affel. No runs come around. Second and third, nobody out. Missed opportunities, the story of this game. Astros lead it 2-1. Friday, get a look around the big leagues with FSN Baseball Report, covering every team all season long with highlights, interviews, and analysis. FSN Baseball Report. Check it out Friday at 4:30 p.m. right here on FSN Rocky Mountain.
There's an old Houston jersey.
You like those old uniforms? I thought they looked like softball uniforms.
They were awful bright.
Goes back to the days when they had J.R. Richard, Mike Scott, Nolan Ryan. Pretty good pitching staff.
Yeah. Craig Reynolds at shortstop. Jose Cruz,
who's in the ballpark tonight.
First base coach for the Astros.
Torrialbo leaded off against Chad Qualls in the bottom of the 7th inning. Qualls, third pitcher utilized tonight by Phil Garner. Both teams have been struggling to score runs on a consistent basis, and that theme has continued tonight. We've seen more blown opportunities in this ball game than I've seen in quite some time.
With guys at third base and less than 2 outs, and now Chad Qualls is into the ball game for Phil Garner. He's allowed runs in 5 out of his last 6 appearances, following a stretch where he's pretty good for 8, not allowing a run. Talk about 2-pitch pitchers. This is the definition right here. He doesn't have another pitch besides a fastball and a slider. That's all he throws. That's why he comes in late in the ball game.
In the air to deep right field. Will this get over the head of the right fielder Scott? No. He pulls it in.
Talked about Chad Qualls and being able to throw 91, 94 miles an hour. But he gets great balance before he decides to go to the plate, and then gets the arm out and really points the glove right towards home plate. That's exactly where he's going with the baseball, and then drives that shoulder down and through and gets the full extension out in front.
Jeff Baker will pinch hit here in the 7th for Affel.
Don't forget Saturday, June 16th. Game against the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. The first 10,000 fans through the gates will receive a Father's Day tie courtesy of Macy's. Get your tickets at any Rockies ticket outlet or online at ColoradoRockies.com.
Dave Wallace done with his conversation.
For a young guy, Bake's done a pretty good job this year in a pinch hitting role. 6 for 19. Tough spot for a young guy to learn to hitting coming off the bench.
One and one. Horatio in Inglewood wants to know who will be the DH for the Rockies against the American League. I think the guy at the plate is a pretty good candidate.
You're looking at him.
Rockies also could use Ryan Spilborghs.
Well, the other thing too, a lot of times you'll use a DH as a day off for somebody, but the Rockies then have Monday off after the Baltimore series before they travel to Boston to open up the series.
This ball is hit high in the air to left field, but just underneath it. And it'll be a relatively easy play for Carlos Lee off the bat. You thought Baker may have run into one, but then looked like he got it more toward the end of the bat, just underneath it. 2 outs.
Well, Carlos Lee also thought the same thing. His first 2 steps were back, and then he had to come racing in at the last second.
Well, Willie Taveras against his old club again. He had a double in the first inning, and this was where the Rockies didn't execute. In this case, Willie made a base running error on a ground ball right in front of him. A one hopper. He tried to cross in front of the shortstop, Everett. There's they calling that a foul ball?
They said he was still in the box. As long as that ball makes contact with the batter, as he still has his foot in the box, it's a foul ball. And that did make contact before his foot left. It was in fair territory. You stop it as soon as he bunts it. He's still in the box before he takes that next step. Brad Ausmus certainly thought that it hit him after his foot had left. He's still talking to Ed Rapuano at third base. They got the call right. Even with 1 strike on Willie, look at Mark Loretta at third base. He's right in on the grass and hugging the line.
Let's get another email from Woodland Park, Colorado. Eric wants to know how many more at bats does Willie Taveras need to be ranked among the league leaders in hitting. He needed 5 tonight. This is his 4th. And he's hitting .327 right now, which would be 5th best in the National League. He's going to get there, if not tonight, tomorrow. Ground ball, second base. Rockies go quietly in the 7th inning. And Taveras made that close. 2-1 Houston. 7 chapters closed at Coors Field. Tomorrow night on your way to the game, make sure to stop by the sports column for Fans Night Out. Meet Keith Blyer at 5:30 for trivia, drink specials, and a chance to sing the national anthem at Coors Field. Fans Night Out tomorrow night before the game at the sports column. And make sure you wish Keith well, because he's soon off to Bend, Oregon. Do a little television and coach soccer. Yeah.
Good for him.
You bet. LaTroy Hawkins takes over in the 8th inning. Craig Biggio, Hunter Pence, and Lance Berkman. 2-1 Houston.
Troy came in on Sunday, retired all 3 batters that he faced. He's tossed 4 1/3 scoreless in his 5 appearances since coming back off the DL.
More on Craig Biggio. Since the Rockies and Astros only played twice this year, 22 hits shy of 3,000. 20 years in an Astros uniform. Bob Knepper, Buddy Bell, guys like that were in the clubhouse when he first arrived in the big leagues in 1988. Mike Scott was still around. Nolan Ryan was still around. 4 National Leaguers have been with the same team since opening day 1995. Biggio, Bonds, Trevor Hoffman, and John Smoltz. That's it.
It's amazing, just 4 guys.
Ground ball to Kaz Matsui. Biggio still 22 hits shy of 3,000, 1 out.
Forget Wednesday, June 20th, the Yankees are in town. The first 20,000 fans through the gates will receive a baseball cap, courtesy of FSN. Tickets are going quickly. You can get your tickets today at any Rockies ticket outlet or online at ColoradoRockies.com.
Pence a pop out and 2 line shots right at Garrett Atkins.
It's called coming out of your shoes on that swing.
Pence lit it up during spring training, but was sent to AAA Round Rock. We called in late April, and he has been a fixture for the Astros in their lineup ever since. He plays the game right. He plays it with high energy, and so far he's played it at a very high level also, showing pop and extra base hit ability.
I asked before the ball game if guys were mad because he ran so hard and did so many things that a lot of veteran guys will take offense to it, but they really embrace this young man. Just, you need guys that have energy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with running hard all the time. There's nothing wrong with playing the game the right way.
I don't think anybody in the game likes when they perceive it to be false.
Some guys' personalities are just that way. Hunter Pence is one of those guys.
See, I think Eric Burns is one of those guys. Swung on and missed. Hawkins strikes out. Hunter Pence, 2 gone. Bandimere Speedway presents Thunder on the Mountain on Sunday, June 17th. Tickets available at the track or at bandimere.com. Thunder on the Mountain, June 17th. Berkman has the big hit in this ball game. A slumping Lance Berkman, who came into the contest with just 1 double all year. Unloaded a 2-run double to left center field in the 6th inning. And that's where we stand right now, 2-1. Wandy Rodriguez on the plus side. Jason Hirsch, who pitched very well, in particular the first 5 innings, is on the wrong side of things.
Pretty good outing from Jason tonight. Mentioned at 6 in the 3rd. Only 5 hits, 2 runs. Pitched out of trouble a couple times.
(2-0) on Berkman. He's going to figure it out again soon. You just hope Houston's moved on.
Yeah. No longer facing the Rockies.
Berkman, a product of Rice University. Pretty good friends with the guy at first base for Colorado. 2 avid outdoorsmen, Berkman and Helton.
Choi's going back outside with the hard fastball.
.94 miles an hour, 3-2.
That's what you've seen from LaTroy once he came back off the DL, that 93, 94 mile an hour fastball again. A little bit of movement that makes the slider that much tighter.
Strike 3. Berkman is incensed as he's now taking a bunch of steps, now jogging toward Ed Rapawano, and they're going to try to cut him off.
Too late.
He got thrown out already. Rapawano just threw out Berkman.
Ed gave him a warning, said don't come over here. Lance barely got halfway there, and Eddie threw him out.
It's been a frustrating year for Berkman. I'll tell you what, Lance, you never know in a 1-run ball game. They may need his. His bat could come up again. That's a big ejection potentially. Looked like he held up, but we have the ability to slow it down. Well, here's the pitch again, a 3-2 pitch from Hawkins.
Well, take a look at it.
I thought he held up.
Certainly, Lance thought he held up. They called from Ed Rapuano, said he did swing, and now he's telling him right now, don't come over any closer, don't come towards me. As soon as he did, then he just threw him out. He gave him an opportunity not to go over there, and Lance just kept going and going and going. Now he's leaving the field and he's going to let Ed know he's not too happy. First, it's the batting gloves. Next thing you know, bag of balls. And at this point, guys in the dugout have to make sure they get him out of there so nothing else happens.
Well, what's going on now? Clint Hurdle is upset about something, and he's having a conference with the entire crew.
Well, just ask Clint to leave the huddle for a second.
Any idea what this is about?
I have no idea.
Phil Garner's had to make a couple of changes. Now the home plate umpire, Ed Hickox, is going over to talk to Phil Garner.
One thing I could surmise, it might be something to do with where he put Brad Lidge in the lineup. Could he put him in for Berkman? Maybe a double switch.
Well, that has to be the point of contention.
Yeah. I don't know if you throw a guy out.
Evidently, you must not be able to double switch.
I don't think you can when you throw somebody out of the ball game.
And
that's what Phil probably tried to do.
Right. Phil probably tried to put Morgan Ensberg, who's now at third base, in the 9 hole. Brad Lidge, who's now on the mound, the former Cherry Creek star, up on the scoreboard in the 9 hole. Mark Loretta has moved from third to first. Rockies will have Kaz Matsui, Matt Holliday, and Todd Helton when this inning gets going. There's Morgan Ensberg.
And that's exactly what it was about. As you saw Ed Hickox, the home plate umpire, signal to Brad Lidge that he was going in straight up. So he does have to go into the number 9 slot in the batting order.
Lidge is on a tremendous roll. He followed Brad's career, one of the top closers in the game in the last couple of years, and it dates to the playoffs of 2 years ago. He has struggled, but after losing his closer's role, now as a setup man, he has been terrific.
Well, he just hasn't allowed a run in 13 out of his last 14 outings. I mean, there's some talk from scouts. You talk to them, they're wondering out loud why Brad Lidge isn't the closer again. And that's how dominating his stuff is. Dan Wheeler is the closer now for the Astros. He is 9 for 9 in save appearances.
Lidge has that overpowering fastball. Some scouts believe he falls too much in love with his slider.
And that takes away from your fastball. When you can rush it up there at 96, 97 miles an hour, you still talk about the fastball being the #1 pitch of anybody.
This ball is hit well right center field, but on the run making the catch is Luke Scott. So a loud first out off the bat of Kaz Matsui. Our sonic good replays of the ball game. Triples. There have been 2 of them in the ball game. Matt Holliday leading off in the 4th inning, and he would score. Todd Helton led off the 6th with a triple, and the Rockies could not bring him around. You hope that does not cost the Rockies. But the Rockies are down to their final 5 outs, trailing by a run. After there's been a solid area, at least of late, with this Houston team. The offense has been terrible, but their bullpen has been pretty sound on the plus side.
Right up there in strikeouts as well.
0-2. That fastball at 97.
I mentioned that the Houston relievers are 3rd in the National League with 164 strikeouts.
They average almost a strikeout an inning. Popped up down the right field line and playable for Scott. 2 gone.
We mentioned Brad Lidge and his ability to strike out hitters, and we'll see some of those guys. Heath Bell, setup guy for San Diego. Trevor Hoffman is a closer. There's some power arms. Chad Billingsley, Jonathan Broxton, all these guys rush it up there a lot like Lidge at 96, 97 miles an hour. Another 96 mile an hour fastball. Todd in his career off Lidge is 2 for 4.
Helton a triple and 3 trips tonight. Let's go back in this ball game. Rockies have had 2 leadoff doubles, 2 leadoff triples in the game. You get a runner to second base with nobody out, you're going to score more than half the time that run.
We talk about situational hitting.
Right. So now you have 4 opportunities, great opportunities in this ball game to score runs, and the Rockies are 1 for 4.
And you never know how it might snowball either. It puts more pressure on the pitcher. Rodriguez hasn't been a guy that's gone deep into ball games. Score early, score a couple runs. Next thing you know, he gives up a 4 spot.
Rockies 1 for 14 with runners in scoring position tonight. That in itself tells you about this game. Yeah. And a line drive down the right field line. Scott has it kicked away. Helton may have himself another triple. A stand-up triple is second of the game. Has he ever had 2 in a ball game? We'll check that out. Well, it wasn't working well getting leadoff triples. Maybe the 2-out triple will work.
Well, maybe it will. And now you talk about falling in love with the slider, and that's exactly what Brad Lidge did on the pitch to Helton. Just got it inside. The Expos show the great strength of Todd Helton. Even with that front foot opening up just a little bit, he's able to stay back enough with his strong hands and wrists and drive it into the corner. Rattles around. He's allowed to easily stand up at third base.
Ball 1 on Garrett Atkins, who's hit it hard twice in the game, 2 doubles and a pop out.
With 2 outs now, the outfielders for the Astros want to make sure there's no doubles. They've backed up 3 to 5 steps.
That's a ball 2-0. Well, we have our answer. It's the second time in Helton's career he has had 2 triples in a game. In 2002 at Arizona, he had a ball game where he also produced 2 triples. in a game. It's the 11th time a Rockies players had 2 triples in one ball game. 2-0 on Atkins, trying to tie it up. Fouled off, foul play. Corey Sullivan's the last Rocky to do it before help last April 9th in San Diego. And again, it's fouled off. 98 miles an hour on that fastball.
Turned it up a little bit. The pitch before that Garrett had fouled off was 96. Almost the same location. Now he goes back 98. But you can see where they're trying to work Garrett. Everything they're working away, away, away. It's not unusual late in the ball game. Going out again. That pitch was in. Ausmus wanted it out. That slider backed up, stayed inside.
Three and 2 on Atkins. And Lidge took something off and strikes out Garrett Atkins, leaving Helton at third. 8 complete, 2-1 Houston. We are still locked in at 2-1, hard as that may be to believe. Let's go from the ballpark to our FSN studios. Chevy Sports Desk, here's Tim Ring.
All right, Drew, just a reminder, coming up after the game, the Chevy postgame report, all the clubhouse reaction, including Clint Hurdle's postgame press conference in its entirety. Also, Garrett Atkins, it appears the swing is back after taking a few days off. And also, Gary Sheffield's comments continue to cause a stir. We'll get Roger and Sam's views on that as well. It's all coming up right after the game.
All right, Tim, thanks very much. Manny Corpus takes over in the top of the 9th inning. Carlos Lee, Mark Loretta, and Luke Scott, the 3 hitters he will face.
Good Manny Corpus, 28 appearances, is tied for first on the team. Pretty good strikeout to innings pitched. And these are all relievers for the Rockies with those 23.
Corpus just got a piece of Lee, and Lee with something to say. And now Corpus coming in. Now both benches are going to empty. The second time we've seen the benches empty in the last week. Hurdle has taken Corpus aside out by the mound. Lee is still squawking. We always try to think back and wonder, was there history when Lee was in Milwaukee?
Well, the thing about it is, think about this. It's a 2-1 ball game in the top of the 9th inning. He's not going to hit him with the very first pitch.
No, I tell you what, if somebody ever did that, it's pretty selfish.
Yeah, and Carlos Lee is the one that instigated this whole thing.
Yeah.
By squawking out to Manny Corpus on the mound. It's a sinker that he was just trying to work in. That's where you have to pitch dangerous hitters. It just came up and got away from him. I mean, I'm sure Carlos is thinking, you know what, that was up towards my head, it was behind me. But now here is where it all starts. He starts staring him down, yelling things at him. Whoever's trying to get in between them, the umpire, Ed Hickox, is doing the same.
And Hickox has warned Manny Corpus, I think warned both benches. That's why Clint asking for an explanation as to why. He's probably saying the same thing you just did. He said it's a 2-1 game. We're not trying to hit anybody.
Yeah, why are you going to warn anybody? I mean, if it's 10-1, it's one thing. What Phil's arguing now is, why are you warning if I That's a way to keep things from getting out of control.
And Rapalano's thrown out another Astro. I think there's some carryover here from the Berkman check swing, to be honest with you, because Garner gets into it with Rapalano. He did not get into it with the home plate umpire, Ed Hickox, who issued the warnings.
It has to be part of the carryover from the Berkman incident earlier in the ball game in the 8th inning. Take a look at the, you get guys coming out of the bullpen, all the pitchers and those guys. Well, one guy that's not allowed, though, once he's out of the ball game to be coming into the picture, right at the end, right at the last second, right here, this man right here, that's Lance Berkman. You can't come out of the dugout once you've been kicked out of the ball game.
That may cost Lance Berkman a ball game.
Yeah, ball game or two.
In fact, I would be surprised if it didn't.
Oh, it has to. Because once you're kicked out of the ball game, you cannot come back to the bench area. You have to stay in the locker room.
Well, we mentioned Bob Watson earlier. Bob Watson will be reviewing that piece of tape sometime in the wee hours of the night. Mark Loretta with Lee at first. And we resume playing baseball, 0-1. The one thing that is interesting about all of this is that Carlos Lee is from Panama. There are not many Panamanians in the game. There's one other Panamanian in this ball game standing on the hill.
Well, and there's certainly something could be carried over from winter ball. I just think if you go back and you look at the ball game and where it stands right now, and I go back to a 2-1 ball game, that's as far back as you have to go. Why is he going to try to throw at it?
Again, I agree. And if there's something going on that most everybody else is unaware of, a 2-1 ball game is not the time to put your personal issues in front of the teams.
Because it's all about getting those 3 out so you can come up in the bottom part of the 9th inning, give your ball club a chance to win.
Luke Scott 2 for 3 in the game. He broke up the perfect game for Jason Hirsch with 2 outs in the 5th inning with a double off the center field wall. Well, the way this ball game started, you didn't think it would still be 2-1 this far along. I mean, Hirsch was outstanding. Wandy Rodriguez was pretty good, but he was getting all the big outs. Looked like the Rockies were going to score runs. I mean, it's not often you have 3 triples in a game. It's the 8th time the Rockies have produced 3 triples in a game. They also have 2 doubles, so you have 5 extra base hits and only 1 run.
Well, part of that's 1 for 14 with the runners in scoring position.
Now, all of that is.
But you also look to
missed moving runners.
Yeah, missed opportunity to get the runner over with the double in the 1st inning. And then think back all the way to the 1st inning.
There have been 2 times in this ball game all you needed was a ground ball or a fly ball of medium length, and you have a run.
And you get neither. The 1st inning, 2nd inning, it happened. On the flip side, both bullpens have been pretty good. The Rockies, Jorge Julio, Jeremy Affeldt, LaTroy Hawkins last inning. Dave Borkowski, Chad Qualls, Brad Lidge for the Astros.
field and deep. Holiday going back, and it's gone. An opposite field two-run home run by Luke Scott, his 6th of the year. And the Astros now lead it 4-1.
Well, Luke's not known to be able to drive the ball out the other way. Most of his power is to the pull side, but he's able to get the ball up and get his hands and weight transfer to drive the ball over the head of Matt Holliday just above the yellow line. Fan catches it, foot on the other side. Talk about Luke Scott's swing from our Exmo. Nice, slow, compact swing. He's already got the drive and the hips rotation going that way, and that allows him to stay on the baseball and drive it out the other way.
0-1 on Adam Everett. Sliders in there for a strike. It's 0-2. That's just the 2nd home run Corpus has allowed this year in 28 1/3 innings. Atkins literally runs up the hill. 2 outs. Brad Ausmus 0 for 1. He's walked twice in the game. Good crowd tonight, more than 27,000, and their energy has been taken away by that 2-run home run off the bat of Luke Scott.
Looking to the bottom half of the 9th inning for the Rockies. Yeah, Brad Hopp, Troy Tulowitzki, and Yorvit Torrealba 1, 2, 3 in the pitcher's spot.
And Austin sits it back to Corpus. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Astros have added 2. It's 4-1 Houston. Houston leading 4-1, first of 3 between the Rockies and Astros from Coors Field. Bottom of the 9th inning upcoming. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. Dan Wheeler, who has had the closer's role for the Houston Astros for now a good portion of the season. He's 9 of 10.
Well, not too bad, but his last outing wasn't very good against St. Louis, allowing 3 runs in only an inning and 2/3 for his 2nd loss on the season. Opponents are hitting .216. The lefties are only hitting .158 against Dan.
Brad Hopp, the reigning player of the week in the National League, will lead things off. Rockies need a bunch of base runners now.
We'll see, being down by 3 runs, if the Rockies hitters take till they get a strike.
This has been an odd game. And how many times do you watch the ball game and you see missed opportunities early on? And on one hand, you say, well, there's still a lot of baseball left, and oftentimes it doesn't factor in. But there's a great number of times it does, because the other hand says, man, you hope that doesn't come back to haunt the club you're rooting for. And right now, it looks like it's going to.
And you never know when you're gonna be able to score those runs. Score them early, score them late, it doesn't matter, but you have to take advantage of the opportunities when they're presented to you. I just still think back to the not being able to manufacture any runs, playing small ball, whatever you want to call it. Situational hitting.
That's in there, 2-2.
Dan Wheeler, the closer now for the Astros, relies just a little bit more on deception. Not overpowering like a Brad Lidge, some of the other guys that come out of that bullpen.
He's also one of those guys that likes to try to deceive the hitter by working his hand in the glove as if, you know, he's
trying to trick somebody.
Right.
Yeah, I always like those guys that sit there, and then as he goes in, he'll fan his glove a little bit to make you think that he's trying to get a different pitch. Maybe it's off speed. Right now, he's already grabbing the baseball in a forkball grip.
Loretta goes to the bag, 1 out. If you have a break in your windshield, take it to Elite Auto Glass, #1 for more than one reason.
Talk about Wheeler. Take a look, and we'll really slow it down, give you an idea of what I'm talking about. See the movement on the hand. Right now, he's trying to deceive the hitter as it's going back and forth, really kind of lulling you to sleep, thinking that he's trying to get a changeup grip, trying to get something off speed, and then he throws the fastball.
Tulowitzki swings at the first pitch. What happened to the idea that when you're down, you take a strike?
Well, and that's what I mentioned to start this inning. Interesting to see what the Rockies would do. Down by 3 runs, do you take a strike? A guy that
you can't hit a 3-run home run with nobody on base.
And that's really kind of old school, if you will. I remember coming up, that's all you did. You were down by 1 or 2, 3 runs. You took till you got a strike to see if he could possibly walk you, get on base anyhow, anyway.
2 outs, nobody on. Yorvi Torrialbo for 2 and a walk. And he takes a strike.
Yorvik gets on. Ryan Spilborghs has grabbed a bat on the on-deck circle.
Ball and 2 strikes on Torrialba. Rockies with 7 hits tonight, 5 extra base hits.
About that, 3 triples, 2 doubles.
Actually, you know what? I'm wrong. They have 7 hits, 6 extra base hits, 3 triples, 3 doubles.
That's right. Garrett back in the 2nd and the 4th.
And Willie Taveras in the bottom of the 1st. The base running error by Willie. That ruined that scoring opportunity. And there's your ball game. Houston, losers of 14 of 17, come to Coors Field and they win the opening game of this 3-game set 4-1. The winning pitcher, Wandy Rodriguez, he's 3-5. The losing pitcher, Jason Hurst, the former Astro, now 2-6. And Wheeler 1-2-3-9 for his 10th save. Our Gatorade player of the game is Luke Scott. He had 3 hits tonight, and it was 2-1 when he came up in the 8th inning, and he hit an opposite field 2-run home run to give the Houston Astros some padding going to that 9th inning. Again, the final score 4-1. The Astros over the Rockies tonight. The Rockies.